Task A, we want to create parameters in Dynamo. So this workflow is created in Dynamo to generate shared parameters in Revit. The main goal is to automate parameter creation based on data from an Excel file. So first, we try to import the Excel file using this node, and the sheet room parameters is select because you can see the name of this sheet is room parameters. So that's why we choose this value. And you can see in this Excel file, there are two columns. One is about the name of the parameters, and another is about the spec type of the parameters. And because we want to separate these two lists, so that's why after that we try to process and prepare our data. So first, we try to use these two nodes to restructure the data in a clear format. And after that, we try to use these two nodes, list first item and list last item, to extract the required values, such as the name of the parameters and the spec type of the parameters. And after that, the output of the last item is linked to this node, Python script, which is used to process the input data. It helps to define the correct parameters type, such as Boolean for yes or no values. So in the end, we use this node. So first, the parameter name comes from the first item, and then we define our group name, and we link the outcomes of the Python script into this spec type. And because we want our parameters is under the identity data, so that's why we define the value of the group type as identity data. And because we want our shared parameters is an instance parameters, so that's why here the value is true. And the categories is for room. So as you can see, in the Revit, if you choose one room, you can find that these two parameters, compliance and room ID, is already appeared automatically.
Use case is rule-based checking, and the motivation for use this is to automate the verification of special compliance with European regulations. So in this case, we are going to check the minimum areas that is required depending of the space purpose. So for this, we're using this cafeteria from the FEUP, and what we did was to assign the uniclass classification depending of the space. So here we can create the parameter uniclass classification and assign manually depending of the space. And the other part, we have an Excel file where we have the regulations, or that have all the minimum areas depending of the space that we are going to input in Dynamo. Also, we have the room parameters that are going to be the parameters that we are going to create in Dynamo, and is going to be shown in Revit. So we can start with the Dynamo. So here we have the file path that this function brings the file that we have. In this case is the regulation Excel, or all the data that we have from regulations. And we bring this to data open XML import Excel that brings the file path, and we have the sheet name that is sheet 1. So if we check here is calling this tab. After this, if we can see here, the list of all the data that we are bringing to the Dynamo from the Excel. And with this transpose, we are just organizing another way the list that we are bringing from the Excel. After that, we use the list deconstruct, where it's going to have only the first list that we have in the Excel. Then in this case is the unique class classification. And again, we use the list deconstruct, where it's going to bring the first one from the rest list. So if we check, it's bringing only the rest, not the first. It was the unique class classification. So in this case, the rest is the minimum area and the names of the spaces. So for the first one, we are calling the minimum area. So that's why we can see the minimum area here. After here, we have the wash that is only just for watch what we have. And we are going to use this after for the match and check the requirements. So in the other part, we have the categories. In this case, we are calling the rooms the category that we need. And after we use the all elements of category, so we are calling all the rooms that we have in the Revit file, as we can see. After this, we need to call some parameters that we already have in the Revit file, as we saw. In this case, it's going to be this uniclass classification parameter and the area. So that's what we are doing with element get parameter value by name. So we call the element, that in this case is the room, all rooms, and we call the parameter, that is uniclass classification. We do the same for the area. And we are using math room just for round areas. Yeah. After we call with list index of, we bring first list that we got from the list the construction, that it means the uniclass classification from the regulation table, and we bring the uniclass classification parameter that we have in Revit. So what we do here is match the uniclass classification depending of the order that we have from the regulation table, yes, and assign to the elements that we have in Revit. So in this case, as we can see, we have the position 0, we have number 1, that in this case, if we check the file, it means it's a commercial kitchen. If we compare with the element that we have in Revit, is a commercial kitchen. As we can see, the next 4 spaces are staff rooms. So that this is a staff room is the position number 2. So we can check here that the next 3 positions have the number 2. After this, we get the minimum area that we bring from Excel regulation table, and we assigned according to the uniclass classification. So again, we can check. So for the first one, we have a minimum area of 25, and the second one, the staff room, we have a minimum area of 4. So 25 and 4 for the next 4 positions or elements that we have in Revit. And finally, we can evaluate if the area complies or is bigger than the minimum. So here we compare if the area that we have from Revit is bigger than the minimum that is required for in the regulation. In this case, it's going to bring a Boolean result. We would like to have this in Revit. We are going to show this as a new parameter in Revit. So here we can again all the category that is rooms, and we bring also all the elements for this category, all rooms that we have that are 17. And after this, we call the parameter name complies, and we bring the condition, and finally it's going to match if in each room which is true and which is false, and we can see this in the Revit, that here we can see what room is compliant and which is not compliant.